On January 21st, 2019, the entire Western Hemisphere had the opportunity to watch a total lunar eclipse. This was no ordinary lunar eclipse, though, because it was also a supermoon. The moon's orbit is not a perfect circle. It is slightly elliptical, and that means that the moon's distance from Earth changes slightly during the course of a month. When the moon is physically closer to Earth, it's going to appear larger and brighter. And when it's further away, the moon will appear smaller and thus also slightly dimmer. The difference in apparent size can be as much as 14%. Now, that may sound like a lot, but the difference is difficult to notice with the naked eye. It really takes a lot of practice. However, the moon's change in apparent size is fairly easy to notice in photographs. Supermoons occur when the moon is near its closest point to Earth in orbit. Although the moon reaches this point every month, that timing usually doesn't line up with either the new moon or the full moon. Now, we don't pay much attention to new moons since we can't see them in the sky. But when a full moon is within 10% of its closest distance to Earth, we get what we call a super full moon, or just supermoon for short. At the opposite end of the scale, we have mini moons, or micromoons, and these occur when the moon approaches its furthest distance from Earth. By the way, none of these are official astronomical terms. They were actually coined by astrologer Richard Noel back in 1979 and have really only become popular in the last 15 to 20 years due to circulation on the internet. There are several supermoons every year, and they always occur in sets, but how many are in a set and the number of supermoons per year really depend on how you determine what counts as a supermoon. There are two main methods. One, you can compare the distance at the time of the full moon to the moon's long-term average distance from the Earth. Or, two, you can compare the distance at full moon to the near and far points in the moon's most recent orbit. Using the first technique is what gives the most conservative results, and the media tends to favor this approach because the math is easier. Either way, supermoons occur in back-to-back sets of two or more. For example, there were 3 supermoons in 2019, January, February, and March. The next year, there were only 2, March and April of 2020. In 2023, the only 2 super full moons of the year will be in the same month, one on August 1st, and then again at the end of the month on August 31st. So how rare are supermoon eclipses, and when will you have a chance to see one for yourself? These are pretty rare. How rare goes back to the issue of which method you use to determine if a full moon is a supermoon. For example, the method based on the moon's average distance says that May 15th, 2022 is a regular total lunar eclipse. But if we look at the moon's orbit for that month and use the second method described a minute ago, then May 2022 would be a supermoon eclipse. Looking at the long-term picture, supermoon eclipses will only happen between 18 and 27 times this entire century, and some of those have already passed. As of the time of this video, the next supermoon eclipse will be in October of 2032, still over a decade away. Also, while you're at it, mark your calendars for January 31st, 2037 for the final super blue blood moon of the century. That's a supermoon eclipse, which is also a blue moon. There's still a number of regular lunar eclipses left in the 2020s, and of course, there's a full moon every month. So get outside under the night sky and enjoy as many of those as you can. For more videos on solar and lunar observing, as well as eclipse previews, please subscribe to the Totality Town YouTube channel.